Let's be honest. Few things mess with a man's confidence more than when a woman who seemed genuinely into him suddenly pulls away. No argument, no clear reason, just silence and distance. You go over every detail in your head, trying to decode the moment it all shifted. You were loyal, respectful, even caring. So why did she leave? The truth stings. A woman liking you doesn't guarantee she'll stay. She can feel chemistry, share laughs, imagine a future, and still choose to walk away. And here's where most men trip up. They think they weren't good enough, not sweet enough, not romantic enough, not present enough. But that mindset, it's exactly what holds you back. Today's woman wants more than just kindness. She craves depth, a man who's grounded, emotionally steady, and moves with quiet confidence. If she senses you're unsure of yourself, overly eager, or lacking leadership, even genuine attraction won't stop her from leaving. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about becoming someone stronger, the version of yourself that naturally commands her respect and attention. In this video, I'll break down the 7 powerful and often hidden reasons why women walk away, even when they like you. These aren't random theories. They're hard truths from real coaching, real experience, and real results. Ready to stop repeating old patterns and start keeping the women who are drawn to you? Let's break it all down and change the game. Reason number 1. You made her feel too certain. Certainty is comfort, but comfort is also the enemy of desire. One of the biggest mistakes men make with a woman they're into is giving her everything too quickly. Your time, your attention, your energy, your heart. You thought showing her consistency and loyalty would lock her in. You thought calling her every day, texting her every hour, being available anytime she wanted would make her feel secure enough to stay. But the problem is, when a woman feels too certain about you, when there's no challenge, no mystery, no polarity, her attraction doesn't grow. It fades. Women don't walk away because you're too nice. They walk away because the dynamic became too one-sided. She knew exactly what you were going to say. She knew you'd drop everything the second she called. She could predict your next move like clockwork. You stopped being a man she had to win over and started being a man she already had. That's when the emotional energy dies. In modern dating, women are flooded with options. She might like you, even care about you, but if the emotional tension drops, if she no longer feels that spark of uncertainty, that masculine energy that keeps her guessing, she'll pull away, sometimes without even knowing why. She'll tell herself she's confused, she needs space, or it's not the right time, but deep down, she just doesn't feel drawn to you anymore. It doesn't mean she wanted a toxic roller coaster. It just means she wanted to feel your edge, that masculine stability that isn't constantly seeking approval, that controlled distance that makes her wonder what's going on in your world. She wanted to feel like she had to step up and earn a space in your life, but you gave her that space for free, and when something is too easy, it loses its value. The fix isn't to pull back in some manipulative way. It's to build a life where you are centered, occupied, and selective, where your time is valuable and your attention isn't given away like candy. That's when she starts wondering about you. That's when she feels the urge to chase. A woman doesn't walk away because she stopped liking you. She walks away because the emotional pull disappeared. She walks because she could feel she had all of you, and deep down, that killed the hunger. If she's not wondering where she stands with you, if she doesn't feel the need to maintain your attention, if she feels like she's already won, she'll stop trying. And when she stops trying, she starts drifting. Reason number 2, you got too emotionally dependent. When a man gets too emotionally dependent on a woman, everything shifts, and she feels it fast. Emotional dependency isn't about crying or being open with your feelings. That's not the problem. The real issue is when your sense of peace, confidence, and self-worth becomes tied to her presence, her responses, and her validation. Suddenly, she's not dating a grounded man. She's dealing with someone who needs her to feel okay inside. This is one of the most common mistakes men make without realizing it. At first, you were in control. You were leading. You were focused on your purpose, your goals, your grind. She felt attracted to that energy. She felt your strength, your self-respect, your ambition. But as things got deeper, you slowly shifted. You started making her the center of your world. Your emotional balance became connected to how quickly she texted back, how she acted on a date, or whether she was giving you the same energy you gave her. Now you're overanalyzing. You're checking your phone more. You're wondering why she's not as affectionate today. You're reacting instead of leading. You're putting pressure on her to make you feel secure. And here's what happens next. She feels it. She feels the shift from masculine certainty to emotional neediness, and even if she likes you, even if she was falling for you, that energy starts to push her away. Why? Because emotional dependency feels heavy. It makes her feel like she's responsible for your emotional state, and no woman wants to feel like she's carrying that load. She starts to feel smothered, not because you said anything wrong, but because your vibe has changed. She can tell you're no longer okay on your own. You've placed her on a pedestal and handed her the power to control how you feel. That's not love to her, that's pressure, and pressure suffocates connection. The strongest men know how to stay connected without becoming dependent. They can show love without losing themselves. They don't need constant reassurance because they are the reassurance. They carry their own emotional weight. They feel desire, but they don't let it drive desperation. That's what keeps the dynamic alive. The moment she senses that you need her to be okay, the spark starts to die. Not because she doesn't care, but because her attraction shifts from excitement to obligation, from passion to pity, from wanting to be with you to feeling stuck with you. She wants to feel chosen by a man who doesn't need her, but who wants her from a position of power. If you don't keep that balance, if you collapse into her emotionally every time something shifts, she won't feel safe or inspired. She'll feel trapped, and no matter how much she liked you, she'll walk away, because no woman wants to carry a man who lost his emotional backbone the second he caught feelings. Reason number 3. You stopped being a challenge. A lot of men confuse stability with being predictable, and that's exactly where the problem begins. At the start, you were different. You had goals. You had things going on. You had an energy that said, I like you, but I'm good either way. She was drawn to that. It was exciting. You had boundaries, standards, and you made her feel like she had to step up to earn a spot in your world. But slowly, without noticing, you stopped being that man. You started texting too much, saying yes to everything, making yourself available at every moment. You stopped making her feel like there was something to work for, and instead, you gave her everything up front. You thought you were doing the right thing, showing consistency, proving you cared, removing doubt, but in doing that, you took away the challenge. And for a woman, once there's no challenge, there's no tension, and without tension, there's no desire. Here's what most men don't get. Women crave that emotional elevation, not stress, not games, but a subtle feeling of, I don't completely have this man yet. That's what keeps her energy alive. That's what keeps her curious, invested, and present. When she feels like there's still more of you to uncover, when she has to bring her best self to match your energy, she stays engaged. But when you give her everything too easily, the excitement collapses. You don't have to play hard to get. You have to be a man who's naturally hard to fully pin down, not because you're hiding anything, but because your life is full, because you're not trying to impress her. You're living with direction. That alone creates mystery. That alone keeps her trying to figure you out. The modern woman is surrounded by attention. She doesn't need a man to give her comfort. She wants a man who can challenge her emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. That challenge keeps her connected. It keeps her excited. It reminds her that you're not just another man hoping she likes him. You're a man she has to show up for. And when that challenge disappears, even if she likes you, she'll slowly check out. You may think being available, saying yes all the time, and constantly showing her you're interested is the way to win her over. But in her world, that often registers as lack of strength, lack of purpose, lack of edge, and whether she realizes it or not, it pushes her away. Challenge doesn't mean conflict, it means self-control. It means keeping your emotional pace, even when you're deeply into her. It means giving her space to miss you. It means allowing her to wonder how you feel instead of always rushing to prove it. Women don't walk away from men because they're bored with love. They walk away because the experience became flat, predictable, and too easy. Keep the challenge alive, and you keep her attention. Reason number 4. You made her feel too safe emotionally and forgot to lead. You made her feel seen. You made her feel heard. You opened up, shared your past, your dreams, your fears, and for a while, that created a deep emotional connection. She appreciated your vulnerability. She felt close to you, but then, somewhere along the line, you forgot one crucial thing. Emotional safety without masculine leadership creates imbalance. She felt emotionally protected, but not led. She felt comfortable, but not captivated. Women may crave emotional connection, but they don't want to take the lead in that connection. They don't want to be the ones driving the relationship forward. They don't want to constantly be the initiator, the planner, the decision maker, and when you become too emotionally safe but stop leading with strength, it confuses her. She starts asking herself questions she can't even articulate. She starts feeling unsure, not because you hurt her, but because you're no longer giving her the direction and structure she naturally wants to feel from a man. When a woman feels too safe emotionally, without the balance of masculine direction, she starts to lose attraction. She starts pulling back, not because she stopped liking you, but because the polarity died. She can talk to you about anything, yes, but does she feel guided? Does she feel your strength? Does she feel like you're someone she can trust to take the wheel when it matters? The modern man makes the mistake of thinking being emotionally open is all it takes. But if all you do is open up, pour your heart out, and let her see every emotion without ever showing that you're grounded, firm, and leading her towards something, she starts to feel like the emotional adult in the relationship. And that's when the respect fades. That's when the attraction turns into friendship. That's when she walks. There's a time to be vulnerable, but there's also a really important thing to say. There's also a time to take charge, to say, this is what I want, to set boundaries, to hold your frame when things get chaotic. That's what she needs to feel safe on a feminine level, not just emotionally safe to cry or talk, but safe to relax, let go, and trust your presence. When you stop leading, you force her into a role she doesn't want. She has to plan everything. She has to bring the emotional energy. She has to create the excitement. And even though she may like you deeply, she'll feel a sense of imbalance she can't explain. Eventually, she convinces herself something is missing, and what's missing is your masculine leadership. Not control, not dominance, just calm, clear, intentional direction. That's what keeps her feminine energy alive. That's what keeps her excited to follow. That's what allows her to keep feeling you, not just your emotions, but your power. So she walks, not because you weren't kind, not because you weren't emotionally open, but because she felt like she had to lead herself, and deep down, that's not what she was looking for. Reason number 5. You gave her too much power, too soon. When a woman feels like she has full control over you, your time, your emotions, your attention, and the direction of the relationship, it doesn't make her feel special. It makes her feel burdened. At first, she might enjoy the attention, the way you hang on her every word, how fast you respond, how quickly you adjust yourself to make her happy, but over time, what seems sweet becomes overwhelming. Why? Because you gave her too much power too early and too easily. A woman doesn't want to feel like you've surrendered yourself the moment she shows interest. She wants to feel like she's earning your affection, your commitment, and your emotional investment. That's what makes it valuable. That's what makes her respect you. But when you give everything without her having to work for it, even if she likes you, she begins to feel like the relationship is one-sided in the wrong direction, like she's the one leading, guiding, and making the emotional effort while you just sit there waiting for approval. Now she's not inspired. She's not excited. She's not trying to win you over anymore, because she already has you completely with no effort at all, and when that happens, you start to feel more like a fan than a man. The dynamic shifts. She becomes the one with emotional leverage. She knows how badly you want her. She knows she can pull back and you'll chase. She knows she can say or do things that make you uncomfortable, and you'll just accept it to stay close to her. You thought being completely available and handing over the power would make her stay, but instead, it made her lose that essential feeling of earning you. Women fall for men they can admire, men who have standards, direction, and a backbone, not because they're controlling, but because they don't bend too easily, they don't get emotionally swayed too fast. They let a woman in, but only when she's proven she's worth it. That creates a dynamic of value, and value creates respect. Without respect, there is no desire. When a woman feels like she has too much power over your life, especially before she's truly committed, she starts to feel unsafe in the relationship. Not physically unsafe, but emotionally unsafe. She senses weakness. She senses a lack of boundaries, and she starts to test you, push your limits, pull back, act cold, not because she's cruel, but because she's checking to see if you'll stand up for yourself. If you don't, she'll lose all interest, even if she liked you at the beginning. The more power you give away without making her earn it, the faster she walks. Women don't leave because you weren't nice enough. They leave because they feel like they're leading a man who no longer has a strong center, a man who gave up his self-respect just to keep her attention. Reason number 6, you made her feel emotionally claustrophobic. At first, you were refreshing. You showed her affection, attention, and you were expressive. You let her know you were serious, and she appreciated that. But slowly, what started as warmth became pressure. Every text had to be returned right away. Every delay made you anxious. If she didn't say, "I miss you," you asked if something was wrong. You over-explained your feelings. You needed constant reassurance. Without realizing it, you made her feel emotionally claustrophobic, and that feeling drives a woman away fast. Here's the truth. No woman wants to be someone's emotional air supply. If you start acting like you need her to validate your worth, comfort your fears, and constantly remind you that you're enough, she won't see it as love. She'll see it as pressure. You've unknowingly transferred your emotional balance onto her, expecting her to carry both her feelings and yours. That's not attractive. That's exhausting. You didn't mean to come off as needy, you just cared, but you blurred the line between affection and dependency. A woman wants to choose to give you her energy, not feel obligated to. And the more you demand it with words, with guilt, or with subtle emotional tests, the more she starts looking for space. At first it might be subtle. She texts back slower, cancels plans more often, gets a little colder. But eventually she'll walk, not because she didn't like you, but because she couldn't breathe around you. Modern dating already comes with pressure, uncertainty, fast-paced communication, social media comparison. The last thing she wants is a man who adds to that pressure emotionally, a man who makes every conversation a check-in, a man who sees silence as a threat, a man who can't go a day without asking where the relationship is going. That doesn't feel like love, that feels like control disguised as vulnerability. If she likes you, she wants to be close, but she also wants her freedom, her emotional independence, her space to come to you naturally. When you start hovering, monitoring, or constantly looking for signs of approval, she feels like she's in a cage, and she'll do what anyone does when they feel trapped: find the nearest exit. You have to understand something crucial. Emotional strength isn't about silence, it's about security. It's about being able to feel what you feel without making it her responsibility. It's about holding your center even when she's distant. It's about letting her miss you without guilt-tripping her into connection. That's what makes her respect you. That's what lets her feel safe, not just with you, but around you. A woman walks away when she feels overwhelmed emotionally, when your feelings become something she has to manage rather than experience with you. When your love becomes pressure, even the strongest connection can't survive. Reason number 7. You stopped being a challenge. At the beginning, you had edge, you had direction, you had presence. You were a man with his own life, his own priorities, and his own center of gravity. That's what pulled her in. You didn't chase, you didn't over-explain, you didn't fold yourself to fit her world. You let her enter your world, and that to her was exciting. She had to earn your attention, she had to stay on her toes. There was a mystery in you that made her feel alive. But somewhere down the line, you got too comfortable. You dropped the edge. You made yourself too easy to access, too easy to predict, and too available. You let go of your standards, your hobbies, your direction, and slowly made her the center of your life. You became all in before she even earned it. And that's when her interest started to fade. Not because she stopped liking you, but because she stopped being challenged by you. Every high-value woman wants a man she can't completely figure out. She wants to feel like she's constantly earning his time, his energy, his commitment, not because he's playing games, but because his life is so full that he can't afford to give it away to someone who hasn't proven they deserve it. When you remove that dynamic, when you make it too easy, you rob her of the very thing that drew her in, the pursuit. When a woman no longer feels like she has to show up at her best to keep your attention, she subconsciously relaxes. She gets lazy, she gets bored, and instead of stepping up, she pulls back. She starts to lose respect, and then comes the confusion. You didn't change who you are, but she did. She went cold, distant, detached. But it didn't happen randomly. It happened because you made the fatal mistake of taking away her challenge. Women don't leave because you treated them too well. They leave because they felt no tension, no anticipation, no reason to keep earning your energy. You gave her the ending before she finished the book. You made it so easy that she never had to wonder, does he still feel the same about me? She knew the answer, and the certainty killed the spark. Masculine energy is grounded, focused, and unattached. Not emotionless, but not desperate either. It allows a woman to be pulled into your world, to feel chosen, but not owed your presence. It gives her something to chase, something to earn, and when that's missing, the whole dynamic collapses. She walks away when she feels like she's figured you out completely, when she stops seeing you as a man with direction and starts seeing you as a man who's waiting on her every move. The moment she stops wondering what you'll do next is the moment she stops caring, not because she's shallow, but because you stopped being the man who made her rise. A woman walking away, even when she clearly likes you, isn't always about her feelings changing. It's about how you made her feel. Attraction isn't just about connection. It's about energy, polarity, and respect. When you give too much, chase too hard, lose your center, or make her your mission, she doesn't feel inspired, she feels burdened. The moment she senses she no longer has to earn you, she starts checking out. If you want to keep her interest, stay grounded, keep your edge, and let her come toward your strength, not your desperation. That's how you hold her attention. That's how you keep her. And remember, if you're serious about mastering the dating game, don't miss out on this channel. We go beyond what's covered in these videos, giving you powerful insights from the first approach to lasting attraction every day. I want to especially thank you for taking your time to watch till the end of this video. I hope the video helps you improve every aspect of your relationship with women. Until next time, see you on the next video.